The wheels on my suitcase sounded too loud against the marble. I told myself to breathe, to smile. I had walked into this lobby a dozen times before. Board meetings, ribbon cuttings, champagne flutes, hollow compliments. But never like this, never invisible. "Good morning," I said, steadying my voice. "Reservation for Coleman. Maya Coleman." The receptionist looked up, the faintest flicker of surprise before her face reset into polite frost. Her name tag read Amber. "Ma'am," she said, smooth but clipped, "this isn't that kind of hotel." I blinked. "That kind of hotel?" She gave a tiny professional laugh, the kind that asks you to accept an insult quietly. "We cater to certain clientele. Perhaps you meant the West Line down the street." My chest tightened. I'd paid for the chandelier above her head. "I meant here," I said softly. "Coleman, Monsieur Coleman." Amber's manicured fingers hesitated above the keyboard, but she didn't type. Instead, her gaze slid toward the guard standing by the pillar. Dale. He didn't move, but his stare felt like a warning. "I just need to verify something," she said. "We've had situations with people pretending to be guests." "Pretending," I echoed. "You mean people like me?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." Her lips tightened. "If you could step aside, we'll handle this quietly." Quietly. The word had a history. It had followed me through classrooms, meetings, airports, always meaning don't make us uncomfortable. "I'm not moving," I said. "I asked you to check the reservation." Amber's hand trembled slightly. "Ma'am, if you raise your voice, I wasn't shouting." My calm scared her more than anger would have. "I'm speaking clearly," I said. "Try again." Coleman. Dale took one slow step forward. "Ma'am, maybe you should listen to her." I turned to him. "And maybe you should listen to yourself." The air thickened. I could feel the people behind me watching. The ones in tailored coats, the ones pretending not to. A white couple whispered something that ended in a laugh. My throat burned. "I'd like to speak to the manager," I said. Amber's relief was almost visible. "Of course." "One moment." While she called, I stared at the floor's reflection. My hoodie, my dark skin, the fatigue etched around my eyes. The woman staring back looked like she didn't belong, even to herself. A man appeared. Slick hair, fake smile, suit too tight at the shoulders. "I'm Richard," he said. "Is there a problem?" Amber jumped in before I could speak. "This guest is insisting she has a reservation under a name that doesn't appear." "Guest?" I said. "Interesting choice of word." Richard's smile faltered. "Ma'am, we have policies. You understand, I'm sure." "No," I said. "I don't understand." "I gave you my name. I gave you my patience. What I haven't given you is a reason to treat me like I'm trespassing." He sighed, voice dropping an octave. That tone men use when they believe they're being patient with an irrational woman. "Let's not make this unpleasant." "Unpleasant." My hands shook. "You think this isn't already?" Amber whispered something to him. I caught the word homeless in the static of their caution. I took a slow step closer. "Check the reservation." Richard hesitated, then nodded at her. She typed something at last. The monitor's light flashed across her face, and then froze there. Her eyes darted to me, wide. "Oh," she breathed. I waited. Richard leaned over the desk, reading. "Coleman, Emma Coleman." His voice cracked slightly on the second syllable. "That's executive level. That's ownership level," I said quietly. "You might want to remember that." He swallowed. "This must be a misunderstanding." "It's not," I said. "It's a pattern." Silence fell over the lobby. Even Dale's stance softened, but the damage sat heavy in my chest. I'd seen this movie before. Different cast, same script. Richard finally found his voice. "Let us make it up to you." "Complimentary suite, dinner." "I don't want dinner," I said. "I want accountability." Amber opened her mouth, but I raised my hand. "Don't apologize now." "You didn't see me when it mattered." Her face went pale. I picked up my suitcase. The wheels sounded louder now, heavier, truer. I turned toward the glass doors, the lobby still as a held breath. At the threshold, I looked back once. "You might want to call your corporate office," I said, "before this gets worse." And then I left them staring at the ghost of the woman they never thought would own the ground beneath their feet. I'm telling you the same thing, I said, palms open so I didn't clench them. Reservation for Coleman. I'm not moving until you check it. He gave me that slow, managerial smile that never reaches the eyes. We have policies, he said. You understand, I'm sure. I understand the alphabet. I tapped the counter with one finger. C-O-L, his hand rose like a stop sign. Ma'am, that word slid over my skin like oil. The guard shifted again. I heard the soft click of his radio, a metronome for the insult. Read my name, I said. We can't just hand keys to anyone who walks in, he said, the tone getting warmer for the onlookers and colder for me. There are standards. Standards don't require your suspicion, I said. They require your keyboard. He leaned closer, dropping his voice. You people always think the rules don't apply. The words entered me like a blade without a hilt, nothing to hold but pain. For a breath, I saw my 8th grade teacher tightening her mouth when I raised my hand too high. I saw the TSA agent dusting my palms for explosives as if melanin could ignite. You people, I repeated, quiet enough to make him blink. Say it again. Let's both hear you. He glanced over my shoulder toward the lobby audience, then back at me. Let's be reasonable. I am being reasonable, I said. That's why you can hear me. The guard took another step, the leather on his belt creaking. Maybe let's take this away from the desk, he said. Why? I asked. So my dignity can fail in private? A woman's voice cut through from the line behind me. Let the lady through, she said. The vowels were old money and winter coats. I turned enough to see her, white hair set neat, a silk scarf that said she knew receptionists by first name. She gave me a look I'd seen once in a church basement after a protest, pity sewn to decency. Thank you, I said to her. Richard's smile brightened for her like a sensor light. Mrs. Foster, he said smoothly. We're just following procedure. She didn't blink. Then follow it faster. I felt something loosen in my chest, not safety, but the space where it might live. You hear her? I said. Follow it faster. He kept his eyes on Mrs. Foster. We'll get this sorted, he said to her, as if I were the traffic cone in the conversation. I promise. I stepped into his line of sight again. Talk to me, I said. I'm the one standing here, he sighed. Identification. You refused it 2 minutes ago, I said, sliding my license across anyway. Now you want it because she spoke? He took it, barely scanning, already rehearsing a new refusal. This doesn't prove, it proves I'm me, I said. And your monitor could prove the rest. Mrs. Foster adjusted her scarf. Richard, dear, she said, steel under sugar. You're embarrassing the hotel. He flashed her the smile again. I watched the performance and felt the old lesson reprint itself across my ribs. Respect travels on names, not humanity. My body remembered every lobby where I'd been made into a question. Do you hear how you sound? I asked him. Every word says I don't belong unless someone you trust says I do. I'm asking for patience, he said. You're asking for permission, I said. To keep seeing what you already decided to see. The guard's thumb hovered over his radio button. The lobby air tightened, the way it does just before thunder. I don't want this to escalate, Richard said. It escalated when your eyes did, I said, when your voice dropped to that parent tone. When you said you people, his face flinched like I'd slapped him with a mirror. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm replaying them, I said. You can try covering your ears if it helps, Mrs. Foster exhaled. This is absurd. Check the computer. Amber finally tapped a few keys. The clatter sounded like an apology that couldn't pronounce itself. I watched her pupils tighten, the quick dart to Richard, the tighter set of her jaw. I knew that look, discovery arguing with pride. Well? I asked. We're still looking, she said, eyes not meeting mine. You saw it, I said. Say it. Richard turned the license back to me without touching my fingers. Even if there is a reservation, he said, we have a dress code for the lobby. The hoodie offends you, I said. Not the policy, not the lie. The cotton. We're a 5-star property, he said. I built the 5th star, I said, too softly for anyone but him. Listen to me carefully. You're not protecting standards. You're protecting your comfort. He narrowed his eyes, choosing a smaller target. We've had issues with locals coming in to linger. I felt the floor lean. Locals, I said. Say black. I'll hear you either way. It's not about race, he said reflexively, like a car alarm. Everything you've done is about race, I said. Even this sentence that pretends it isn't. The guard shifted again. The click-click of his radio was a heartbeat I refused to borrow. My own heart slowed on purpose. I counted the beats like a metronome for restraint. Mrs. Foster's voice softened. Dear, she said to me, would you like me to call someone? I kept my eyes on Richard. He is someone, I said. He just forgot, he bristled. I don't appreciate being threatened. It isn't a threat, I said. It's a mirror, he leaned in, whispering, breath mint sharp. You people always there it is, I said. The real register. His mouth snapped shut like a briefcase. You're twisting my words. I'm untwisting them, I said. They come out straight like that. A couple near the fireplace pretended to check email. The woman's finger hovered over the same screen, unmoving. The lobby smelled like coffee and judgment. I thought of my grandmother's kitchen. The way she'd pat my wrist and say, hold your fire, baby. Let them feel the smoke. Here's what's going to happen, I said, the quiet filling me like ballast. You're going to decide if you want to follow your policy or your prejudice. They look similar until they're written down, he swallowed. We can make an exception. I don't want exceptions, I said. I want equality. The cost is higher, but it lasts longer. Amber's keyboard stilled. Richard, she said, a tremor rounding the consonants. Maybe you should check the reservation, I said, finishing her sentence without looking away from him. It's under Coleman, M. Coleman. He hesitated, calculation flashing like a signal in his eyes. He looked at Mrs. Foster, then at the guard, then back at me. The order told me everything. I'll ask you once more to step aside, he said. You're disrupting the lobby. Your bias disrupted it before I walked in, I said. I just made the noise visible. The radio clicked again. The guard shifted his weight, then eased back, unsure where his shadow should fall. I registered his uncertainty and let it pass. He wasn't the architect, just the door. Mrs. Foster cleared her throat. If you don't handle this, she said, I'll be taking my business elsewhere. There it is, Richard said too brightly. No need for that. Will, you had no need for any of this, I said. But you wanted it anyway, he forced the smile. Let us offer you a complimentary Stop, I said. Don't try to purchase my silence like a minibar. He flinched again. I felt tired in the bones that hold my posture. Weariness and clarity sometimes arrive together. One makes the other bearable. I asked you one thing, I said. Read my name without swallowing it. His eyes hardened around pride. Ma'am, I'm done discussing this. Good, I said. So am I. I turned to Mrs. Foster. Thank you, I said. Your voice mattered. I wish mine had been enough. It should have been, she said quietly. It will be, I said, and heard the vow ring inside me like a struck glass. I picked up my suitcase. The wheels hummed over the marble, not hurried, not apologizing. Behind me, the lobby held its breath like a room waiting for a parent to come home. I didn't give them the final look this time. I didn't need to measure their faces to measure my worth. At the door, the glass reflected me back. Hoodie, travel hair, the set of my mouth that meant tomorrow had already begun. I let the handle swing open and stepped into air that didn't ask who I was before letting me breathe. I sat in the car, hands flat on the steering wheel, watching my reflection in the glass. My face looked like it belonged to someone else, someone hollowed out, someone holding a storm behind her teeth. I dialed. Carla. My voice was quieter than I felt. Initiate Protocol 7, silence. Then her inhale cracked through the speaker. Maya, you sure? Very, she hesitated. Do you want me to loop in Tom first? No, I said. Loop him in after I speak. I want him off balance, she exhaled hard. Okay, I'll pull the files. Same sequence as before? Yes. Documentation, timestamps, security footage, HR archives, everything. She didn't ask what happened. She didn't have to. Carla had worked beside me long enough to know that when my tone went flat, something had already burned down. Understood, she said finally. Do you need me to drive up? No, I said. I need you to listen when I tell you I'm done being quiet. Her voice cracked just a little. I've been waiting to hear you say that. The call ended. I let the silence sit between my breaths until it steadied me. Then I pressed the next number. Tom picked up on the second ring, all corporate confidence. Maya, you're calling early. What's... I was denied service. A pause. Denied? In my own lobby? What do you mean? I mean, I walked into the flagship and they decided I didn't belong. He laughed weakly. There must be some misunderstanding. There always is, I said. Until there isn't. Maya, listen, I'm sure the staff didn't realize... Didn't realize what? I snapped. That I signed their paychecks? That the woman they dismissed owns the floor under their feet? He cleared his throat. Let's not escalate this before we get the facts. I am the fact. Maya, please. His tone turned syrupy, coaxing. You know how optics work? We'll handle it quietly. Quietly, I repeated. The word you use when you mean bury it. He sighed, then lowered his voice like we were co-conspirators. You know what I'm saying? The brand doesn't need controversy. We've worked hard for this image. I built that image, I said, and they tore it down in 5 minutes. He paused. Wait, was this at our flagship? No, Tom, my flagship. Remember that when you call legal. Maya, I understand you're upset. No, you don't. I could hear my pulse now, a steady drum. You've never walked into a room and had people decide you were unworthy of air before you spoke. You've never been followed by your own employees' eyes like a suspect. Maya, I can't be responsible for every staff member's... Yes, you can, I cut in. Because when leadership tolerates racism, it's policy. He hesitated. We'll review the incident. No, I said. We'll review the system. Maya, I'm not asking permission, Tom. My voice leveled out, colder now, calmer. I'm informing you. He went quiet, and I imagined him rubbing his forehead, calculating fallout, brand risk, investor calls. Let's schedule a board meeting before this goes public, he said. We need alignment. You'll have alignment, I said. Just not the kind you expect. What does that mean? It means by tomorrow, there won't be a single employee in that building who doesn't remember my name. Maya, please don't make decisions out of anger. I'm not angry, I said. I'm precise. He tried to laugh, but it came out nervous. You're serious. I was humiliated in front of strangers, Tom. Do I sound unserious? He groaned. We'll lose good people. We already did. I swallowed the bitterness. They just didn't look like your definition of good. Another silence. The kind that reveals what someone truly values. Fine, he said finally. What do you want me to do? Prepare HR and press. He hesitated. Press? Yes. If I have to burn my own company's comfort to make this right, so be it. Maya, that's not wise. What's not wise, I said, is thinking silence is neutral. He sighed again, long and low. You'll regret this later. I already regret yesterday, I said. Tomorrow's mine. The line went dead before he could reply. I dropped the phone into the passenger seat and stared through the windshield. Outside, the hotel's sign gleamed, the Armitage Grand. The name had been chosen before my ownership, before my signature made it legitimate. I had once promised myself I'd change it, replace it with something that sounded like legacy instead of lineage. Now I knew exactly what legacy meant. I whispered to no one, You wanted quiet. I'll give you thunder, and I started the car. I'm on site, I told the front desk quietly. I'm here to meet HR. Name? The clerk asked. Miss Coleman, I said. Corporate liaison. The word tasted false but useful. I wore the kind of calm that makes people underestimate the heat underneath. Sasha met me near the elevators, crisp voice, open eyes. Ms. Coleman? Thank you for coming on short notice. I wanted it short, I said. And noticed. We've reserved the Magnolia Room, she said. Manager, receptionist, and security present. I'd like to begin with your account. You'll get it, I said. But I want to hear theirs first. I'm curious what truth sounds like before it meets consequences. She nodded once. As you wish. We stepped into the room. Richard sat at the head of the table as if the chair could save him. Amber kept her gaze on her folded hands. Dale's stare bounced between my face and the carpet. Sasha began. Thank you for joining. Ms. Coleman is here from corporate. We're conducting a preliminary review of yesterday's incident in the lobby. Happy to cooperate, Richard said, smiling like a brochure. We take our standards seriously. Standards, I repeated. Let's discuss those, Sasha gestured. Amber, you first. Describe your interaction in your own words. Amber cleared her throat. A guest arrived. She didn't look. She stopped. She wasn't dressed in line with typical arrivals. We've had issues with non-guests trying to access amenities. I followed procedure. What procedure is that? I asked. Verify identity. Escalate to management if necessary. You didn't verify, I said. You stalled. I asked for ID. You refused it when offered, I said. Then asked again when a white patron intervened. Richard cut in smoothly. Let's keep this constructive. We can all acknowledge tensions run high in hospitality. Tension doesn't invent words, I said. It only reveals them. Sasha held up a hand. One at a time. Amber, did you say anything that could be interpreted as discriminatory? Amber's voice shrank. No slurs. Nothing like that. I didn't ask about slurs, I said. I asked about meaning. We didn't mean anything by it, she blurted. It wasn't intentional. Intent doesn't erase harm, I said, softer now. Intent explains you to yourself. It doesn't repair me to me, Sasha wrote a note. Dale, he shifted. I'm supposed to maintain order. I saw a situation escalating. I prepared to intervene. How? I asked. Just presence? Radio check. Did you announce a policy violation? No, he said. I was waiting for guidance. From whom? Manager, he said, nodding at Richard. Sasha turned. Richard? He laced his fingers. I approached to de-escalate. I asked for patience. I asked the guest to step aside so we could verify. You also said you people, I said. His smile stiffened. I don't recall that. My memory does, I said. Down to your breath mint. He laughed once. That's a strong accusation. It's a small quote, I said. But it holds a whole building. Sasha's pen paused. Richard, did you use that phrase? I speak professionally, he said. Always. I heard the syllables hit bone, I said. Always is doing too much work, Amber murmured. We thought she was out of place. There, I said quietly. That's the sentence. Out of place. You made my presence a problem and your prejudice a policy. Richard leaned back. Ms. Coleman, with respect, you weren't here. I was, I said. You just couldn't see me. The room tightened. Sasha looked up at me, measuring something more than testimony. Let's talk documentation, she said. Amber, do you recall checking the reservation? I started to. And then? Sasha asked. I saw an executive-level flag, Amber said, barely audible. Richard's gaze cut toward her. Let's not speculate. It wasn't speculation, I said. It was my name. Sasha turned a page. We'll pull the lobby footage and the property management system logs. Timestamps will help us reconstruct. Pull the audio too, I said. The tone matters as much as the transcript. Richard straightened. May I ask, how will corporate handle this? We don't want a witch hunt. I'm not hunting, I said. I'm identifying. Surely there's room for coaching, he said. We can do cultural sensitivity training. Refresh protocols. This doesn't need to become a what? I asked. A story? A scandal? A record? A spectacle, he said. It already was, I said. You built it in the lobby. Amber's hands twisted. We just have to protect the brand. People try to sneak in, use the bathrooms, wander. I wasn't wandering, I said. I was arriving. Richard leaned forward, voice low. You have to understand how it looked. I do, I said. That's the problem. Sasha nodded toward me. Ms. Coleman, your account? I swallowed, then kept my words spare. I walked in after a red-eye. I said my name. I was told this isn't that kind of hotel. I asked them to check the reservation. I asked again. A white guest's voice became my credential. The manager said, you people. The guard hovered. I left because I had work to do. Richard raised a palm. If anyone said that kind of hotel, I'm sure it was an unfortunate phrasing. It was a precise choice, I said. Unfortunate describes the weather. Sasha looked at the three of them. What outcome would you consider fair? She asked me. Truth first, I said. Then consequence, Richard forced a chuckle. Let's keep emotions out of this. My humanity isn't an emotion, I said. Amber's voice shook. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't have to mean it, I said. You only had to do it. Sasha folded her hands. Here's next steps. I'll collect footage, pull logs, and interview the witness who intervened. I'll also need badge records for all staff on duty. Add internal emails, I said. And Slack. I want to see how people talk when they think the lobby can't hear them. Richard swallowed. That's invasive. It's diagnostic, I said. Racism is clever. It hides inside jokes. Sasha didn't flinch. I'll request the exports. Good, I said. Then we'll discuss remedies. Richard tried for warmth. We value diversity here. Our team reflects the community. Your team reflected something yesterday, I said. It wasn't the community, he exhaled. I hope corporate will consider our track record. I am the track record, I said. Dale finally looked at me directly. What would you have wanted us to do different? Believe me the first time I said my name, I said. And act like the lobby belonged to both of us. Amber whispered, I thought you were... Angry. I was tired, I said. Tired looks like anger to people who expect me to be grateful. Sasha checked her watch. We'll reconvene at 2, review artifacts, and agree on interim actions. Interim? I asked. Or honest? She met my eyes. Honest, I nodded. Then one more thing before we break. Richard tried to reclaim the room. If this is about optics, it's about identity, I said. I turned to Sasha. May I clarify my title for the record? Of course, she said. I faced the table. Yesterday, you called me ma'am, guest, problem, exception. You introduced me today as a liaison. I let my breath settle. My name is Maya Coleman. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Armitage Hospitality. The sound that followed wasn't sound at all. It was vacancy. It was the vacuum left when assumptions collapse. Amber's mouth opened, then closed. Dale stared at a spot on the wall like it could unmake time. Richard didn't blink. He just stopped being a person with a script and sat there, face empty of the smile he'd practiced. I felt nothing triumphant, only a clean, hard stillness. Now that you know who I am, I said, tell me again about standards. Richard finally found a fragment of voice. Ms. Coleman, CEO Coleman, I had no idea. That's the point, I said. You didn't need to know who I was to treat me like someone, Amber whispered. Not now, I said. Save it for the report. Apologies belong to the record, not just my ears. Sasha lifted her pen again, her tone steady. 2 p.m., we'll bring everything to the table. Bring your courage too, I said. You'll need it, I stood. The chair's legs scraped a small, rude truth across the floor. I watched Richard look at me like a locked door he'd walked through 1,000 times without a key. I didn't enjoy it. I merely recognized it, Ms. Coleman, he said weakly. What do you want from us right now? Recognition, I said. Not of my title. Of the harm. Then redesign. Then removal where necessary. He nodded, a motion with no muscle behind it. I reached for the handle. I'll see you at 2, I said. And when we sit down again, let's leave you people outside the room. The only people in here are accountable. I walked out with my name the same as yesterday, my posture heavier with it. The lobby felt different coming back through. Quieter, not safer. I didn't need safe. I needed true. Keep it polished, Leah whispered, palm hovering near my elbow like a stage cue. They polished the chains once, too, I said. I want the metal raw, she winced. The board wants contrition, cooperation, a path forward. I'll give them truth, I said. They can pave their own path. I stepped behind the podium. Microphones leaned in like hungry mouths. My heartbeat slowed the way it does before impact. I let it choose the tempo. A reporter in the front row raised a hand without waiting. Did you orchestrate this for publicity? No, I said. I endured it for years. Today I spoke. Another voice cut in. Why didn't you announce ownership sooner? I held his gaze. Because respect shouldn't require a name tag to be real. Pen scratched. Leah exhaled too loudly behind me. A woman with a press badge tilted her head. Do you think your appearance contributed to the misunderstanding? My existence didn't miscommunicate, I said. Their assumptions did. So you deny any role in escalating? A man asked. I asked for my room, I said. They asked for my permission to see me. Flashes popped. I didn't blink. I remembered a cafeteria line when I was 10, a lunch lady snapping next. I had learned to stay still while someone else decided if I counted. A younger reporter leaned forward. What do you want from this? Training, firings, a settlement? Truth on the record, I said. Then changes that outlast the apology cycle? Leah edged closer. Maya, I'm not done, I said without turning. A hand went up near the aisle. Is it true you told staff you'd fire everyone? I told them I'd remember their names, I said. I keep promises in both directions. A murmur rippled. I let it move through the room like wind through tall grass. Noisy, not persuasive. Richard stood against the wall, knuckles white around a folder. Amber hovered beside him, eyes glossy. Leah had asked me to let them speak. I had agreed. Not because I needed their words, but because the room did. Richard, I said, stepping aside. Your turn. He approached the microphone. His smile trembled. I felt no joy in that. On behalf of the property, he began, I want to apologize for the unfortunate series of events. Series, I said softly into my mic. It lasted 9 minutes. He flinched. We failed to live up to our values. We take diversity seriously. Do you take accountability seriously? A reporter interrupted. Yes, he said quickly. Absolutely. We are committed to training and, did you say you people? Someone shouted. I don't recall, he started. I do, I said. The lobby's microphones will remember with me. Camera's word. He looked at me, then at the floor. I'm sorry, he said, barely audible. For what? I asked. He swallowed. For not seeing you. Not seeing me isn't the crime, I said. Deciding what I was when you didn't see me is... Leah's voice threaded through mine. Richard, thank you. She gestured to Amber. Amber would also like to... Amber stepped up, shoulders trembling. I want to apologize to Ms. Coleman. I didn't mean... Intent, I said, is a mirror. Harm is a bruise. Which one do you want me to live with? Her breath hitched. I thought I was protecting the brand. You protected your comfort, I said. You used the brand as a shield. A reporter raised a hand. Amber, what did you see when Ms. Coleman approached the desk? Amber stared at the podium edge. Someone out of place. And what place did you imagine belonged to her? I asked. She closed her eyes. Not the lobby. Another voice from the back. Ms. Coleman, critics will say you're exploiting a personal slight to posture as a social justice hero. How do you respond? I don't posture, I said. I persist. The slight was not personal. It was professionalized. Pens paused mid-stroke. A reporter near the center stood. Is this about one hotel or the entire chain? This is about the country that built the chain, I said. Leah touched my arm again. Let us outline the action plan, she murmured. You'll get your slides, I said, then faced the room. We're auditing hiring, promotion, and guest complaint patterns. We're eliminating dress code language that disguises bias as aesthetic. We're creating a public, searchable accountability log. We're giving staff a script that begins with belief and ends with service. We're paying damages to anyone previously profiled on these premises. We're funding community hospitality programs led by people who look like the guests you made invisible. A hand shot up. Who pays? We do, I said. Cost is the only apology that teaches. A skeptical voice. Won't that hurt shareholders? If dignity hurts profit, I said. We've been counting the wrong currency. Richard cleared his throat. May I? No, I said. You may listen. A young black reporter lifted her phone, notepad forgotten. What did it feel like? Familiar, I said. And final. Final? She asked. The last time I let it pass, I said. I'm done donating silence to systems that feed on it. Another question came, jagged with challenge. You could have identified yourself at the desk and avoided all this, right? I could have, I said. And every time I do, I build a world where the key to respect is a title, not a face. A man in a gray tie called out, "Why should staff be punished for a simple mistake?" Simple mistakes don't come with matching scripts, I said. When strangers speak the same wound in different cities, it isn't simple. Leah leaned toward the mic. We also want to acknowledge the staff who do uphold our values. Name them, I said. Names matter most when praise feels risky, she blinked. We'll compile faster than you compiled excuses, I said, then softened. Leah, say your next sentence, she swallowed. We failed Ms. Coleman. You failed yourselves, I said. You shrank your humanity to fit a policy that wasn't written but enforced. A reporter lifted a tablet. Comment on the viral clip showing the guard's hand on his radio as you spoke. My grandmother used to say, hold your fire, let them feel the smoke, I said. I chose restraint so the world could smell what was burning. Amber's whisper leaked into the mic. What do you want from me now? Growth you do when no one is watching, I said. And a resignation if you can't. She nodded, tears shining. I felt compassion's ache and did not confuse it with absolution. Richard tried again. Miss Coleman, Your turn is over, I said. Listen to the questions you earned. A final hand went up, hesitant. What would justice look like today, not in 6 months? Today, I said, it looks like truth spoken without hedging, salaries redirected from PR spin to policy change, and doors held open by habit, not by exception. Leah leaned toward me, voice a thread. Close it. I faced the room one last time. You keep asking why I didn't announce ownership sooner, I said, letting quiet gather around the words. Because respect shouldn't depend on a name tag or skin tone. Your phone is melting, Leah said. I know, I said. Let it burn. Tom's name flashed again. I swiped. Talk. Maya, he said, breath already apologizing for him. The online reaction is intense. We need to show stability. Consider letting Richard keep his position. Probation, training, optics. No. At least meet him, he said. Off camera, quietly. Quietly built this, I said. Bring him in. We sat in the small conference room off the lobby. I left the door cracked on purpose. The hallway hummed with reporters and phones. I let the hum testify. Richard walked in with a folder clutched like a lifeline. Amber followed, eyes shiny. Dale stood by the wall, hands clasped so tight I could hear his knuckles. Ms. Coleman, Richard said, voice sanded to smooth. Thank you for seeing me. You didn't give me thanks yesterday, I said. You gave me policy. He looked at the folder. I made a mistake. You made a choice. I have a family, he blurted. So did every person deny dignity, I said. That sentence isn't a trump card. It's an echo, he swallowed. I can do better. You had the lobby, I said. That was your chance to do better. Amber edged forward. Ms. Coleman, I want to apologize. Stop, I said. Don't rush to the period. Sit in the sentence. Tom slid into a chair, top button undone like a performance of stress. We need a path that shows growth, not punishment. Growth without consequence is a spa day, I said. We're not lighting a candle. We're fixing wiring, Richard tried again. I'm prepared to take training, to mentor, you want to be the hero of the harm you caused, I said. That's a neat trick. Dale cleared his throat. I was following protocol. To shadow me? I asked. To touch your radio when I said my name? He looked at the table. I'm supposed to maintain order. Order isn't the same as comfort, I said. Whose comfort did you keep? Tom leaned in. Let's not turn this into a spectacle. It already is, I said. I'm just adding subtitles. Leah opened her tablet. Media's waiting. You can stream this or do it closed door. Open the door, I said. She pushed it wide. Phones rose like a field of periscopes. I let their red dots make us honest. A reporter called from the hall. Ms. Coleman, are you firing the manager today? I'm listening first, I said. Then acting. Richard turned to the hallway, voice pitched to sympathy. I made a misjudgment. I'm not a racist. I didn't call you names, I said. I called your actions what they were. He faced me again. I'm asking for a second chance. You had your second chance when I spelled my name, I said. You spent it. Amber stepped closer to the door like she needed an audience to believe herself. I'm sorry, Miss Coleman, I was under pressure. The lobby was crowded. I felt unsafe. I stared at her. Unsafe from what? She blinked. From an escalating situation. I spoke calmly, I said. Your fear filled the silence and then billed me for it. Tears spilled. I didn't mean intent doesn't erase harm, I said. We covered that. A reporter. Amber, what did you see when she approached the desk? Amber's mouth trembled. I felt the answer arrive before she did. I waited. Someone who didn't belong? She whispered. I nodded. Exactly, Richard jumped in. This is unfair. You're using her pain against her. No, I said. I'm asking it to testify. Tom raised both palms. Maya, optics. Tom, I said, we're not calibrating lighting. We're correcting vision, Dale finally spoke, voice low. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make it worse. Silence made it worse, I said. The radio did the talking for you, he flinched. What do you want from me now? Answer without rehearsing, I said. What did you see when you looked at me yesterday? He stared at the floor until the truth got heavy enough to lift. A problem I might have to remove, he said. I let the sentence rest between us. And today? He swallowed. My boss. I was your guest first, I said. Then your boss. It should work in that order. A reporter shouted, Miss Coleman, will there be immediate terminations? Yes, I said. Tom leaned forward. We can stage this. Performance improvement plans, structured reviews, gradual. We stage plays, I said. We don't stage justice. Richard's voice cracked. Please, I've given this hotel 10 years. And yesterday you tried to take 9 minutes from me, I said. Time moves one way, but accountability can move faster. Amber touched the edge of the table. What can I do that isn't just crying? Start with naming, I said. Name what you believed about me when I stood there. She pressed her lips together. That you were trying to get something you hadn't earned. I felt the truth hit and settle, a stone in my stomach. Thank you, I said. Now imagine living inside that sentence every day and still building the building. A younger reporter asked, softer than the others, Does forgiveness have a place here? Yes, I said, but not as a detour around consequence. Tom rubbed his temples. Investors are calling. They want assurance. Assure them we'll make money without selling our morals wholesale, I said. Tell them harm is expensive long-term. Another voice from the hall. Richard, do you admit to saying you people? His face tightened. I heard it, I said. You can join us in that reality or stay in yours. Only one has audio. Leah tapped her watch. I nodded. We're done. Richard lunged at the opening. Done meaning? I keep my job while we... Done meaning you're relieved of duty, I said. Effective now. His mouth opened. You can't... I can, I said. Security will escort you to clear your desk. Dale looked at me. Do you want me to... Yes, I said. With respect. With dignity. The kind I didn't get. Richard's eyes shone, rage wrapped in pleading. I have a family. So did every person denied dignity, I said again, steady. Make sure yours learns a better script. He sagged like the words removed one of his ribs. Please, Miss Coleman, no more bargaining with the bruise, I said. Move. Dale nodded once and stepped to the side, not behind, not looming, simply present. Richard walked out past the phones, his folder suddenly small. Amber looked at me, voice shredded. Am I fired? Not today, I said. Today you're benched. Mandatory training that doesn't coddle. Mentorship under someone who will make you uncomfortable in the right direction. A probation with metrics, not vibes. One more profiling complaint and you're done. She nodded, crying like the body finally understood what the mouth had signed. Dale, I said, you'll lead a redesign of security protocols with community trainers. Radios don't get to be the first language. He let out a breath I hadn't heard him holding. Okay. Tom leaned in again, grasping for a save. We can say this shows a fair, balanced response. We won't say anything we can't measure, I said. Publish the metrics. Let the public be the auditor. A reporter shouted, Are you afraid of backlash? I'm afraid of rot, I said. Backlash is just wind. Leah lifted the tablet so I could see the feed. Comments streaming, hearts and knives mixed together. I felt neither triumph nor fear, only a clean line inside me, the kind you draw with a ruler after erasing 100 crooked tries. One last question. A voice called. What did you see when you looked at them today? People, I said. Not villains. Not excuses. People who chose. And now I choose too. I stood. The room rustled, the hallway buzzed, my phone vibrated like a trapped bee. I let it. I looked at Amber, then at Dale, then at the doorway Richard had already gone through. Court adjourned, I said. Policy begins. Call the roll, I said. Tom cleared his throat. We're all here. Good, I said. Then we can stop pretending. Leah folded her hands. We've prepared a statement. I don't need statements, I said. I need truth with signatures. Tom leaned forward. Maya, the board wants closure. Quiet settlement, a charitable pledge, retraining. We don't fix rot with silence, I said. He tried to smile. Investors prefer stability. Stability is what mold calls home, I said. Carla? She slid a folder across the table. Pulled from staff emails and Slack. Sorted by timestamp, flagged by keywords. Tom stiffened. You can't just... I can, I said. And I did. I opened the folder. My voice came out low, steady, alive with a small tremor I didn't hide. Subject line, lobby funnies. I read, new game, guess who's not a guest? Winner buys drinks. I let the word sit. Sent by an assistant manager. 4 likes, 2 laughing emojis. Leah shut her eyes. Tom looked at the ceiling. I turned a page. Another, dress code alert. No hoodies, no duffel bags, no attitudes. I tapped the paper. Attitudes, Tom shifted. We can discipline those employees. We will, I said. But first we'll understand who they learned it from. Carla's voice was careful. There's more, I read. She's probably here for the bathroom. My throat tightened. I kept reading. Escorted a Karen yesterday. Today we had the opposite. What's the term, Sharon? I closed my eyes once. Sent 2 weeks before the lobby. Tom's face flushed. This is cherry picking. No, I said. This is harvesting. Leah's voice was a thread. Keep going, I read. Brand guidelines. Tasteful, calm, non-urban. I stared at the asterisks. Non-urban, Leah swallowed. My team wrote that phrase. Then my team will burn it, I said. And yours will learn why. Tom lifted his hands. We're veering off mission. Our mission is hospitality. Hospitable to whom? I asked. Make the sentence honest, Maya. Say it, I said. Hospitable to who looks right to certain eyes. Leah looked at me instead of him. You made me see it, Maya. Her voice barely rose above the air conditioner. I wrote copy that sounded like perfume and acted like offense. I thought I was protecting a vibe. I was protecting a bias, Tom frowned. Don't confess in a boardroom. I'm confessing to myself, she said. So I can stop doing it. Carla slid another sheet forward. The letter, she said quietly. I recognized the header. Legal stationery, I read. We recommend accepting a confidential settlement with non-disparagement provisions to mitigate reputational harm. I looked up. Reputational harm, Tom spread his fingers on the table. It's standard. It's surrender, I said. We're not buying quiet. We're buying change, he leaned back. At what cost? Money, I said. Time, ego, all refundable. Leah took a breath. Propose your plan. Public audit quarterly, I said. Hiring, promotion, complaint data by race and role. Vendor diversification. Mandatory anti-bias training designed by people who will not comfort us. Dress code rewritten to outlaw coded language. Lobby signage that defines service as a right, not a reward. A customer bill of dignity in every room. Tom rubbed his brow. And the firings? Immediate for anyone with documented profiling or retaliation, I said. Rehire pipelines for underrepresented staff. Coaching for those who can learn. A line item for reparative funds, he stared. Reparative funds. Money that returns what bias stole, I said. Carla added. And a whistleblower channel straight to Maya's office. Tom turned to me. You want to make yourself the complaint desk? I want to make myself reachable, I said. Power hoarded is harm prolonged, he shook his head. We're going to get sued. We're getting sued already, I said. By reality, Leah gave a small, fierce nod. I'll rewrite the brand book. First page, respect is the dress code. Tom looked pained. The board will ask for compromise. Tell them compromise built this mess, I said. Courage cleans it. Carla touched the folder. There's one more, I braced. Read it, she did. Why do they always play the race card? Her voice didn't shake, but my stomach did. I treat everyone the same. If they want better service, try being polite. I felt heat behind my eyes. I let it sting. Everyone the same, I said. Which is to say, everyone like you. Tom tried logic like a shield. Sometimes guests are aggressive. So we build a policy that meets behavior, not skin, I said. Write it down. Train to it. Enforce it evenly, he exhaled. And if the board refuses? Then the board learns who runs the company, I said. And who it serves. Leah's gaze was steady. I'll brief PR, no spin. Just steps and dates. Add names, I said. Credit the people who do this work. Not just me, Tom sighed, a long surrender. I'll take it to the directors. You'll bring them to me, I said. This isn't a memo. It's a meeting with their conscience. He met my eyes for once. Do you ever soften? I do, I said. After change begins, Carla closed the folder. There's a draft letter to staff, she said. From you. Read it, I said. She began. I owe you clarity, not comfort. We failed guests we promised to welcome. We will repair with receipts. Good, I said. Add this. If you believe equality is an attack on your dignity, this is your invitation to resign. Tom flinched. That's harsh. That's honest, I said. Harsh was the lobby. Leah reached for her pen. What do you want the email subject line to be? New policy, belief comes first, I said. And the first sentence, we see you before we judge you. She wrote it down, then looked at me. You made me see it, she repeated, sturdier. I won't unsee it. Don't, I said. Make it visible for everyone else. Tom stood. I'll call the directors. Call legal too, I said. Tell them we're choosing sunlight. He paused at the door. If this backfires, I'll own the fire, I said. I already own the building. I want the doors open, I said. All of them. They're ready, the new front desk lead said. Do you want me to cue the quartet? No, I said. Let the hum be ours. I stepped into the lobby. The same marble. The same chandelier. Not the same air. My chest felt both lighter and heavier, like walking into a house I'd rebuilt while it was still on fire. Welcome, neighbors, I said into the handheld mic. Come in. A woman I recognized from old complaint logs approached with a careful smile. Ms. Coleman, I brought my daughters. I'm glad you did, I said. Make yourselves at home. That's the point. Ms. Coleman, the new concierge said quietly. We have community leaders, church elders, the culinary school. Send them all to the desk, I said. Let the first check-ins be conversations. A teenage boy came first, baseball cap in his hands. Is it true I can apply for the internship here? Yes, I said. Applications on the tablet. Interviews in person. We look you in the eye, he swallowed. Even if I don't have experience? You have breath, I said. We can teach the rest. A pastor with tired kindness in his eyes shook my hand. We prayed for you. I heard you, I said. I kept the amen in my pocket. A former guest I had once refunded without being believed lifted her phone. Can I say something on camera? Say it, I said. She turned her screen to her face. The last time I stood in this lobby, I felt like lint they were trying to brush off the coat. Today I feel like fabric. Name the feeling, I said, so you can come back to it. Leah slipped next to me. Press wants a formal quote. You can give them one, I said. I want to talk to people without microphones. A young man wearing a maintenance badge approached, new hire. Miss Coleman, Call me Maya, I said. Maya, could I ask a policy question? What do I do if a guest complains that another guest looks suspicious? You ask what behavior concerns them, I said. Not what face. If there's no behavior, you offer them a seat and a mirror. He laughed, relieved. Thank you. A line formed at the front desk. I went to stand behind it. The desk lead looked at me. You want to check them in? I want to hear how my building speaks, I said. A community organizer with flyers held out her hand. Can we host a tenants' rights clinic here next month? Yes, I said. Free coffee, wide doors, late hours. You'll catch heat for that, she warned. I have fireproof skin now, I said. Next. An older man rested his cane against the counter. I came to see if the apology was real. It isn't an apology, I said. It's a policy. He nodded slowly. That's the realest answer I've heard all year. A young woman in a hotel uniform cleared her throat. Miss Maya, could I say something to you, not as staff, but as someone who used to work under the old manager? Say it, I said. I thought professionalism meant acting like stone, she said. I felt myself harden. I don't want to be that anymore. Then don't, I said. We're building a place where kindness is a skill, not a weakness. She pressed her lips together, then smiled like a muscle remembering its job. Thank you. Carla appeared with a clipboard, eyes shining. The scholarship recipients are here. Announce them, I said. Call their names like bells. She grinned and lifted the mic. Armitage Hospitality welcomes our first Hospitality Bridge Fellows, Aaliyah Jones, Mateo Rivera, Priya Desai, and Jamal Price. Applause rolled up beneath the chandelier. I felt the sound move through my ribs like repair. A man in a suit I recognized from online arguments edged closer. I was vocal in the backlash, he said. I thought you were overreacting. I was wrong. Thank you, I said. What changed your mind? My wife, he said. She said she was tired of me defending comfort. Listen to her more, I said. A former housekeeper hugged a folder to her chest. Maya, I left 2 years ago. I heard about rehiring pipelines. Human pipelines, I said. Yes, do you want to come back? I do, she said, but with a different title. Name it, I said. Supervisor, she said, almost whispering. I know the work. You'll have the training and the pay, I said. We'll put your wisdom on the schedule. She covered her mouth with her hand. I didn't think anyone would say yes. I didn't think anyone would deny me a room in my own lobby, I said. Life is surprising. Let's choose which surprises we build, a community elder tapped her cane. Child, you promised a speech. I did, I said, stepping onto the small riser. Gather close if you want to hear the words without PR sauce. People pressed in, a circle of faces I recognized and faces I didn't. I held the mic, then lowered it. I wanted my voice to sound like a conversation, not a performance. This lobby taught me something, I said. Silence is complicity. I won't be silent again. A hush settled the way a blanket settles on winter legs. I'm not here to perform virtue, I said. I'm here to write receipts. We changed policies, yes. We changed pay scales, yes. We changed how we greet you, how we guard you, how we refuse to profile you. We'll fail sometimes. When we do, we'll fix it out loud. You'll be our auditors. A hand rose near the back. Do you forgive them? I breathed once. My grandmother's voice brushed my shoulder like a shawl I could never see but always felt. Forgiveness isn't the opposite of justice, I said softly. Forgiveness is a room I might open after the foundation holds. A man near the front nodded, eyes wet. That's enough, another voice. What do you want us to do? Hold us to the standard we wrote, I said. Tell us when we wobble. Book rooms. Hold meetings. Bring your kids to walk on marble that doesn't make them smaller. Leah lifted her phone. The live stream wants a closing line. Tell the live stream they're invited, I said. But the real change smells like coffee and human breath. Laughter eased the tightness. I stepped down. A musician from the quartet came over, violin under her arm. May I play something? Play Hope, I said. Whatever it sounds like for you. She lifted the bow. Notes rose, clean as rinsed glass. I let the sound show me the edges of my chest and how they'd moved. A young white couple approached, nervous. Ms. Coleman, the woman said, we stayed here last year. We didn't notice anything wrong. You weren't supposed to, I said. That's how it works. We'll pay attention now, the man said. Good, I said. Attention is a currency we accept. Tom found me near the fountain, hands in his pockets like he didn't trust them. You did it, he said. We started, I said. He looked around. Investors called. Some angry, some proud, all curious. Tell them curiosity is welcome, I said. Cynicism isn't, he nodded. I'm learning. So am I said. I'm learning how to be in a place without shrinking. A little girl tugged my sleeve. Are you the boss of all the rooms? I'm the boss of the welcome, I said. That matters more, she grinned. Can we swim? Yes, I said. And if anyone asks for your name before your smile, you tell me. She ran off, braids scattering joy like confetti I didn't have to sweep. The desk lead leaned over. We're double booked for the community hall next month. Tenant clinic and youth poetry slam. Let them share the space, I said. Rights and poems fit, he smiled. You sound like a lobby. I am, I said. Open and unafraid, the violin quieted. Conversation swelled. Coffee steamed. I listened for the old script and didn't hear it. I heard chairs being scooted so someone else could sit. I heard names said with care. I heard my own breath not bracing for impact. An older woman approached, Mrs. Foster's scarf at her throat. You remember me? I do, I said. You opened a door with your voice, she touched my hand. You kicked it off the hinges. I just made the hinges honest, I said. Thank you for the first push, she smiled. I came to see if you needed anything. I need you to enjoy this place, I said. That's the measure, she squeezed my hand. Then I will. I walked to the front desk, slid behind it, and pressed the call bell once, soft. Welcome, I said to the next person in line. I'm ready to check you in. I'll give you 30 minutes, I said, closing the conference room door. Not for persuasion, for truth. Richard stared at the table. Amber sat with her hands stapled together by shame. I didn't sit. I didn't need the chair to hold me up. Why now? Richard asked. Because the building is almost ready, I said. And I don't like ghosts wandering the lobby. Say what you couldn't say with microphones listening. He cleared his throat. I already apologized. You apologized to the internet, I said. I want the thing underneath the apology. The one you're afraid has teeth. Silence pressed fingerprints on the glass walls. I let it. Amber spoke first, voice threadbare. I've been replaying the tape. I keep hearing my tone. I keep trying to fix it in my head. You can't fix history, I said. You can only testify. What did you believe about me when I stood at your desk? She swallowed. That you didn't belong. That I had to protect. Something. What was the something? I asked. She stared at her fingers. The idea of the place. The calm, the order. The image in my head that said luxury looks a certain way, and it didn't look like you in that moment. There it is, I said softly. Image, not policy. Not safety. Image. I turned to Richard. Your turn. He didn't look up. You were proof I wasn't as good as I thought, he said, the words landing like a brick setting into mortar. I let that settle. Say more. I've always told myself I treat everyone fairly, he said. I built a story where I'm the reasonable one. Then you walked in and my reflex, made me the villain of my own memoir. And your answer was to make me the plot twist, I said. He winced. I tried to manage optics. I kept thinking, if she would just understand the pressure I'm under. I made your humanity a threat to my resume. I exhaled through my nose. A slow burn, not a blaze. That's your prison, I said. Not mine. Amber glanced up. You were calm, she whispered. That made it worse for me. Because calm took away your excuse, I said. It put a spotlight on choice. Richard finally looked at me. I need you to know it wasn't about your color. I tilted my head. If you have to say that sentence, it's almost always about my color. Try again, he grimaced. It was about my fear of getting it wrong, my fear of looking weak, my fear of losing control. And what is my color to that fear? I asked. He closed his eyes. The easiest container. I let the room breathe that answer. What did you see when you looked at me? I asked him. A problem, he said. Then a mistake. Then my boss. I never saw guest. Order matters, I said. You put problem in the first slot and it called the rest of the lineup. Amber's voice shook. I thought hospitality meant protecting the brand. I thought the brand lived on faces like the brochure, not faces like mine when I'm tired, not faces like yours when you were tired. Hospitality means protecting the person, I said. The brand is just the receipt. Richard leaned forward, desperate for a hinge. What do I do with the shame? Use it as a tool, I said. Not a pillow, Amber blinked. A tool? Shame is a smoke alarm, I said. You don't smash it because it's loud. You find the fire and change the wiring. Richard looked at his hands. I'd like to make amends. I don't know where to start. Start by telling the truth without asterisks, I said. To the people you trained in your image. To the managers who watched and learned the wrong lesson. To the mirror. He nodded once. I can do that. Not a statement, I said. A practice. Amber took a breath. I brought a letter. She fumbled in her bag, slid a paper toward me. It's to you, but also to the next black woman I'm tempted to misread. I didn't touch it. Read it out loud. Her hands shook. Dear Ms. Coleman, dear ma'am, I refuse to see. Dear future guest who looks like the world that built this city. She swallowed. I stood at a gate I didn't build and pretended it was a window. I called my fear policy, and your presence disruption. I am sorry for the harm, and I will not require your forgiveness as the toll to fix it. I will change my first question from do you belong to how can I serve you? I watched her. Keep going. If I fail again, she read, voice fraying, I will not hide behind the brand. I will name the bias and do the repair with receipts. She folded the paper. That's all. It's a start, I said. But a letter is a doorstop. You still have to hold the door. Richard cleared his throat. I have one too, he said, then grimaced. It's messier. Read it, I said. He pulled a page from his folder. Maya, Ms. Coleman. He stopped, corrected himself. Maya. I wronged you and everyone who looks like you when I equated luxury with whiteness and comfort with control. I used corporate tone as armor. I said you people without moving my lips. I am stepping down permanently and will make myself available to train my replacement in the opposite of what I practiced. I will stay long enough to hand over the keys and then leave the building quieter than you found me. If you allow, I will donate a year of salary to the reparative fund and volunteer under managers who will not flatter me. He put the paper down. I don't expect absolution. You won't get it, I said. You'll get assignment. He nodded, almost relieved. Good. Amber wiped her eyes. Can you tell me what you needed that day? I keep trying to rewrite the scene in my head. I needed you to believe my name the first time, I said, and to let curiosity walk ahead of fear. She nodded. I can do that. You can practice that, I said. Doing it is a repetition, not a performance. Richard's voice softened. When you said, that's your prison, I understood it like a thud in my ribs. I've been living in the story where I'm the good manager. You made a hole in the wall. Walk through it, I said. Don't frame it and call it progress, he exhaled. What do you want me to tell my kids? The truth, I said. Tell them their father made a small world and is learning the map was wrong, Amber whispered. Do you forgive us? I let the question sit long enough to feel honest. Forgiveness is a room I visit after the foundation holds, I said. Today we're still pouring concrete. She nodded, accepting that the floor mattered more than her comfort. Richard stood halfway, then stopped. May I ask one selfish question? Ask it, I said. Do you ever rest? He said. This looks like it costs you. It does, I said. But not as much as shrinking did. He nodded like a student watching a difficult equation become a shape he recognized. Thank you, he said. For the mirror. For the time. You don't thank the fire alarm, I said. You fix the stove. Amber gathered her bag. If I slip, will I be fired? If you slip, you'll be corrected, I said. If you resist, you'll be released. There's a difference. She met my eyes, steadier than when she walked in. I won't resist. Good, I said. Then go learn from the people who've been carrying this weight while you were polishing the sign. Richard reached for the door, then paused. I kept thinking I could manage this like a crisis, he said. But it isn't a crisis, is it? No, I said. It's a curriculum. He opened the door. I watched him stand in the threshold like someone measuring the size of his own shadow. Maya, he said without turning. I hope the hotel feels different when you walk in now. It already does, I said. Because I do, they left. The room exhaled. I sat at last, letting the chair hold what the day had taken. My pulse steadied against the quiet. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clear. The hinges had confessed. The door would not squeal in the same key again. I'd like to check in. Welcome home, Ms. Coleman. Her smile reached me without strain. May I have your name just to confirm? Coleman, I said, then let the old instinct pass through me like a shadow. Maya, thank you. Her fingers moved with ease. I see your reservation. 7 nights. Corner suite. Is that still correct? It is. Wonderful. May I offer water or coffee while I finish? Water, I said, and felt the word wash more than my throat. Still or sparkling? Still, I said. No ice. Coming right up. She set the bottle down, label turned toward me like a small courtesy and not a test. Would you like me to text your digital key, or do you prefer a card? Text me the key, I said, and print a card. I want to hold something. Of course, I let the counter hold my forearms. My palms didn't sweat. The marble didn't glare. I heard the lobby. Soft wheels, low chatter, a laugh that didn't check who was allowed to laugh. The air didn't brace for me. It made room. Would you like a wake-up call? She asked. No, I said. I'm awake. She glanced up, kind but not prying. If there's anything you need, I'll ask, I said. I won't apologize for asking. Good, she said simply. Do you know the policy at this desk? I asked. Not testing, just measuring. Belief comes first, she said, as if reading something on the inside of her eyelids. We greet, we listen, we verify without suspicion. We correct bias out loud. We keep a record we're not ashamed to read again. Who taught you? My supervisor, she said. And you? Then it worked. She slid the printed key across, not pushing, not planting it like permission. Here's your card key. I've also sent the digital key to your phone. Room 2101, thank you, she nodded. May I ask you something? Yes. What do you want this desk to feel like when you walk up to it? A porch light, I said. On, for everyone. I can do that. You already are. She smiled again, smaller, truer. Is there anything about your arrival that we can improve? You asked me that, I said. That improves it. I mean specifics, she said, earnest. Details. Say my name once without checking for a price tag, I said. And then ask me who I am beyond the reservation. Who are you beyond the reservation? She asked softly. I'm tired, I said. And glad. And still learning how to arrive. Then I'll walk at your pace, she said. I nodded, surprised by how the words loosened my throat. My suitcase stood at my heel like a small, obedient animal. I thought about setting it on the counter just because I could, because no one would read it as defiance. I left it on the floor. I didn't need to prove weight. Any preferences for housekeeping? She asked. Respect the door when it's closed, I said. That's all? Understood. She hesitated. There's a note on your profile to offer you the quiet elevator. You thought of that, I said. The team did, she answered. We learned that dignity is partly acoustics. I almost laughed. You'll make a good manager. I want to make a good welcome, she said. Manager can come later. Keep that order, I said. A bell tone chimed on my phone, the digital key arriving with a brief vibration, then settling. I remembered the last time my phone buzzed in this lobby, how the sound had felt like a trapped bee. This time it felt like a hand on my shoulder saying, I've got you. Your room faces the park, she said. We can switch if you prefer city lights. The park is good, I said. Trees don't stare. She didn't rush past the sentence. Do you want help with your bag? No, I said. I carried it here. I can carry it the last few feet. Then allow me one thing, she said gently. Let me hold the door. You can hold it, I said. I'll walk through. She rounded the desk, not hurried, not theatrical, and touched the handle like it was an instrument she'd learned to play. I watched the door swing and remembered the first click I ever heard in this building, the radio at my back as I spelled my name like a test I hadn't studied for. I stepped past the memory without stepping on it. Ms. Coleman, she said as I passed. Welcome home, I stopped. The words landed and didn't hurt. Say it again. Welcome home. Thank you, I said. I thought that sentence was a myth. It's policy, she said. And practice. I stood there a moment longer, suitcase wheels quiet, the lobby's light warm but not interrogating. Tell me your name, I said. Imani, she said. Imani, I repeated, and the syllables felt like a forward step. If anyone ever questions your welcome as weakness, tell them I called it strength. I will, she said. And if I slip, I'll repair without asking you to hold me while I do it. Good, I said. We're all learning. Would you like a map of the hotel? She asked. I wrote it, I said. But hand me one anyway. I want to see if you added anything I forgot. She passed me a folded sheet. I opened it. Community hall, clinic nights, poetry slams, a line that read, quiet room available upon request. I traced the letters with my thumb and felt my heartbeat align with the font. You have my number at the desk, she said. Text any time. I will. I took 2 steps toward the elevator, then turned back. One more thing, yes? If someone comes to this counter the way I did that day, tired, dressed wrong to someone else's eye, carrying something you can't see, what's your first sentence? Welcome, she said. Second sentence, what name would you like me to use? Third, I believe you, I breathed. Keep it, I will, she said. Every shift. I rolled the suitcase forward, the wheels a soft whisper now. At the elevator, I pressed the call button and watched the numbers descend. My reflection in the chrome doors looked like a woman I recognized without explanation. No bracing shoulders, no swallowed voice. Just breathing. The doors opened. I stepped in, then held them with my hand for a heartbeat longer and called out, not loud, not small, Imani. Yes? Thank you for seeing me. I like my job, she said. Seeing is part of it. The doors slid closed. The elevator lifted without lurching. I felt the floors pass like pages turning. When the bell chimed at 21, I stepped out into a hallway that didn't measure me. The digital key unlocked the door with an easy green. I set the suitcase inside, left the door open, and walked back to the threshold. The carpet didn't remember my hesitation. The air didn't keep my old fear on file. I spoke to the quiet like it was a person I trusted. I'd like to check in, I said again, soft enough that only I could hear. To myself, and I did.